And welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of DEF CON 5. We're here at level 1, DEF CON 1. We're taking a look at defenders and controllers, 5 different sets of support. And at DEF CON 1, we're talking about traps because we want to know, with this power set, combined with the other 4 sets I've already looked at, electrical affinity, nature affinity, time manipulation, and kinetics, which of the archetypes, defender or controller, on the City of Heroes, on the Homecoming servers, on the Excelsior shard at least, where I'm playing, is the superior supporting archetype in the game? And with traps, we took a look at all these little gadgets and gizmos in the last episode and what they do for buffing the team, debuffing the enemies primarily. And then we got to the competitors for this particular challenge. We had a Cherie de Bomb, my defender. She's traps as her primary, assault rifle as her secondary, and mace mastery. And she is going to be taking on Vexaris, my illusion controlled traps and psi mastery controller. But today we're going to be we're going all in on our good friend Cherie, because we want to know all about her build. We're going to take a look at the build. We're going to run some solo stuff, go through her basic strategies just to kind of set a baseline of where she's at. And we want to talk about the AR set in depth before we go ahead and run anything. So I'm going to start us off with that. Let's go ahead and pull this up first. And here it is on the City of Data. We're looking at AR assault rifle, a blast set for defenders. Let me go ahead and get my tool ready here, my pen tool. 1 second. All right, here we go. City of Data, assault rifle. In our last episode, we looked at traps, the support or debuffing set. I guess it's probably a better way of looking at it. In depth, look at the numbers. Kind of came up with some of the early thoughts about what we're going to do with that set. But today we want to look specifically for Cherie, her assault rifle set. We're going to dig into the numbers behind these 9 powers, and then when we take a look at the build, you can see what I did with the ones that I ended up choosing. So the set is fairly straightforward as far as blast sets go. You've got yourself a couple single target blasts out of the gate. Then you've got some sort of AoE cone in this case at your 3rd slot. You have another AoE, a targeted AoE, a grenade here that's going to explode, do some knockback. That's your 4th pick. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, some good single target and AoE damage pretty quick with this build. Then you have a specialty control power here, beanbag, single targets, a disorient stun. Then you've got another sort of standard, and by the way, this one kind of fills in, or at least it occupies the position of your tier 3 and other sets as far as blasts go. And when I talk about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 attacks, generally speaking, you've got, low damage, medium damage, and high damage. I know the terms in the game are different than that, but that's the basic idea. So this set has the first 2, a low and a medium attack. Then for tier 3, you actually have a low damage attack because we're replacing the damage with the stun. So this makes a power like this skippable if you're not into, control-y stuff, you just want damage. This would then be, I'm not going to bother taking this one. If you are trying to get some sort of leverage of control, you could take this power. The problem you're going to have, at least with this set, is this is the only stun in the set. So there's no way to stack it with other powers that you currently have. So if you want to do any sort of stun stacking, which I always try to do if I'm going to get any sort of control powers going, some sort of control theme on a non-control archetype like a defender, then I want to be able to stack these types of things with my primary, with my my epic sets, whatever. But right now I only have this one in this lineup. So that's one thing that makes this power kind of skippable. Low damage for a tier 3. It does a stun, but you have no way to stack it. Then we have Sniper Rifle, which in the original version of the game, these are the big old wind-up, interruptible, heavy damage attacks. Kind of like a tier 4, if you want to think about it that way. So extreme damage. But the way the Homecoming server has modified snipes is that they have made a quick snipe version of these powers so that if you begin attacking and have a combat going on, it eliminates that big wind up interrupt phase. Uh, and the trade off is it lowers this to just a high damage type of attack. So I'm actually going to look at that as the replacement for the damage over here for your tier 1. So, if it's me and I'm going control, then yeah, I'll take beanbag and maybe skip sniper rifle. But if I want to focus kind of on shooting and damaging, then I'm going to take, my burst, my slug, and my sniper rifle is my 1, 2, 3 single target attack chain that I can just lather, rinse, repeat on some tough foe. I like the fact that you got a couple of, AoE stuff pretty early with the cone and the targeted AoE. And then you get a couple more AoEs here with flamethrower and ignite. And then full auto as well. So you actually have a lot of cone, a lot of AoE attacks. We're gonna take a look at the numbers on these, but this as an assaulting set, you've got a lot of bang for your buck here. You got a lot of things you can click and fire at people. So really, this set can be really damaging if you just kind of go just by the sheer number of attacking, damaging powers. The set itself doesn't really do anything debuffy. There's only one power that has any debuff at all, and that's your first one, the burst with minus defense. The only other thing it's kind of good for is it's got knockback in 1, 2, 3, 4 of its powers. So you can kind of get that as your thing if you want to get in some KB action on people. But I wouldn't say any of these is super reliable KB. I think the only one off the top of my head, and we'll look at the numbers and confirm this, is the M30 grenade. I think that one has a pretty high magnitude, or at least a high chance to cause KB. I think all the other ones are, maybe 20% or something like that. But anyway, there's kind of the overview of the set. Let's go ahead and dig into the numbers on this burst, see what we're dealing with here. And these are all the defender numbers. So if you're playing on a corruptor, blaster, the numbers might be a little bit different. But here we go. The damage, I'm not really worried about what the damage is. If I'm worried about damage, I probably shouldn't be playing a defender. But it does lethal damage, so that's one thing to be, thoughtful of or mindful of, because you have enemies you're shooting and they have damage resistance in a lot of cases. And many enemies in the game are going to have resistance to the big two common damage types, which are smashing and lethal. So the fact that your assault rifle primarily is doing lethal damage, which is highly resisted by a lot of the groups in the game, it can kind of lower your damage output. So keep that in mind as you're, choosing something and going, oh, geez, I'm going to lose some damage just because a lot of people are going to be resistant to it. But you do get a decent debuff here. I mean, minus 12.5% defense debuff is pretty strong. And the other cool thing about it, you can see up here, is this power takes those minus defense debuffing IO sets, right? You've got the accurate version and the standard version, and there are some interesting. You got IO procs that you can put in here. Like there's an Achilles heel proc in the standard. I think I forget what it is. Yeah, the Achilles heel proc. It has a minus resistance, and it's in the. These are the accurate ones have the accuracy, but the other ones don't have any accuracy in them. They're just defense, debuff, endurance, whatever. But there is a minus resistance one in the Achilles heel set that you could put in here. The advantage of that is it's going to allow you to do more damage. So if you were to put something like that in this power, and I forget what the exact numbers are on the Achilles heel proc, but let's say it has a minus 20% damage resistance. So whatever you're shooting with it, you can potentially do 20% more damage. So that may help you balance out something like having foes that have a lot of lethal damage resistance in there. But I'm not sure I would put that necessarily in this power just because it is only single target and the power itself's not doing a ton of damage. So do I want to use one of my slots for this power in that particular proc? Or would I be better off maybe putting some damage procs in here instead? And this way I'm not necessarily worried about the low damage or the highly resisted lethal damage if I go ahead and put, for instance, there's the, what is the Lady Grey set is for the defense debuffing, and there's I think a chance for negative damage is the proc in that one. So that could be something interesting to put something like that in here. There's also a shield breaker damage proc that you could use for the accurate defense debuff sets. That has, I think, a smashing damage, chance for smashing damage. So you could turn this power into something that's doing lethal, negative, and smashing damage all with one shot. So that's where you could kind of leverage the types of sets that it takes. But this power in and of itself, it's not going to like save your life, especially on this particular build where I'm not necessarily going to try to leverage the minus defense. However, Traps does have some decent minus defense in, I think it's, what is it, Acid Mortar? Acid Mortar, which we looked at in the last video. And if you haven't seen that last video yet, you need to go to the channel there and take a look at the playlist for the DEF CON series here. And you can like and subscribe if you wish. But this power, I went over it and the numbers on it. So it's got some decent minus defense, some minus resistance in it. So you could take advantage of that in tandem with this power's minus defense. And then maybe that makes sense for you to perhaps put the Achilles heel proc in here that does the minus resistance. So now you're turning this fairly low damage power into a pretty hefty debuff of defense and resistance in, tandem here with your acid mortar. That's something you could look at, something you could take advantage of. I don't think I did that specifically on my build, but we'll take a look. All right, so that's sort of your, that's your basic tier 1 power. That's what kind of makes it special. Slug, we go up to the next level. This one's doing a bit more damage, right? We had 59 in this one. Remember, the last damage was for burst was doing just about 10. So this thing's doing, 5 times, 6 times the amount of damage. That seems a bit, extreme of a difference, but because the original developers put a lot of weight in debuffs and controls, and so if a power does damage and one of those other things, it usually is going to get penalized pretty heavily on the damage department. Should it be penalized that heavily? Probably not, but I don't know if Homecoming's ever taken a look at this power set before, and maybe it needs a little bit of a love touch. So we got a 100% chance of doing that damage, and then here is the damage, or sorry, the chance for the knockback. So the knockback is 1.5, so you'll be able to knock back. I don't remember what the knockback numbers are on targets off the top of my head. I know, like, minions and lieutenants, they have, I don't think, any knockback protection. So if you have any sort of knockback at all, you're going to knock them over. And then bosses might have, 1 or 2 knockback resistance. So this may or may not knock back a boss. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, so you have to excuse me on that. But it's only a 1 out of 4 chance. So single target, 1 out of 4 times, you're going to knock it on its butt. That's pretty much what it's going to do. So because of that, this is not the type of power that you need to worry about switching your knockback to knockdown, which a lot of people do, because if you have a power that knocks back a whole bunch of targets and scatters them, that can be a problem. It depends on your build, but it could be a problem. You're scattering things all over the place. And I think on a trapper that may be true, because for traps, you want to get your trap in the middle of a bunch of dudes that are standing around so that they can, take the hits from this thing. And so if you're putting a trap down and then blasting things across the room with some sort of knockback, that's going to be self-defeating. But some low magnitude knockback, 1 out of 4 chance, single target, I'm not worried about, oh no, I've got to slot this thing for some, a sudden acceleration knockback to knockdown, or get the universal damage set in there, an overwhelming force, I think it's called. And, I think that's a waste if you're going to do that. Doesn't mean that you can't slot it for knockback. If you want, you can put knockback sets in there to increase the magnitude of this thing. That could be fun. And there are some good bonuses in some of these knockback sets, so you can go and take a look at those. It might be something worthwhile to slot up. Then you got Buckshot as your next one. This one is your first cone. So I like the fact that this set, right out of the gate, you got, 2 single targets. So by the time I'm done with, what is it, level 2, level 1? Yeah, level 2, if I do the tutorial, right, I can have both burst and slug, plus my one of my trap powers. And then I can, by the next level up, I think have buckshot under in my arsenal immediately. So I think something like that's kind of a smart move because defenders are just like anybody else at low level. You're not going to be buffing and supporting and debuffing like a madman. That takes a lot more levels, a lot more slots. So my basic routine whenever I build a new character is I pretty much go, a 1, 2, 3 attack with my third one hopefully being some sort of AoE. So I like to have single target AoE if possible as my attack chain at really low levels so I can go and do some damage to a lot of people pretty, successfully. And then I'll have some sort of, in this case, a buff or a debuff, like one of those that helps me keep myself alive. I think in traps you don't have a luxury of like some heal that you're going to use. So the buff you might take, in this case, like caltrops for even more damage, you throw that down. I don't think web grenade would make sense as your first pickup from the trap set because that's not really going to help you survive. But I think you throw something like caltrops in here as your, by level 4, you have this basic lineup. This is going to give you some soft control, some scatter, slowing the people down, and then you can shoot them, and blast them with your attacks. That's a nice little, level 4, starting build at that point. Then we got, let's take a look at the numbers of buckshot. I think so the magnitude of the knockback is higher. We're looking at a 50% chance for the same strength. So the chances are twice, but you're going to do the same amount of knockback. Now, this power, you might go, oh no, I don't want to scatter things. So this power, you could put a knockback to knockdown in it if you were worried about it. And maybe earlier in your build that might make more sense because this is your primary attack for many levels. And if you keep blasting things back out of the way, that might become annoying for you. It depends what other traps you got going. If you did come out of the gate with caltrops as an example, here's you throwing your little caltrops out, and then your enemy is standing in your caltrops, and then you blast them with your cone and knock them out of the caltrops. That would be stupid. So this might be something you would look at for turning that over to knock down. But I think in a later game where you have many other options for attacks, this might be your, 1 out of a 6 attack chain or something like that. So it's not going to do, ton of scatter that you worry about. Plus, if you use your geometry correctly, if you use the map, the layout. So if you're sitting here, and this is a room that you're in, and you're fighting some foe, if they're near a wall, then just blast them into the wall. So it's more your positioning that's easy to maneuver around and manage your knockback if that was your concern. So I don't think this is something that's worthy of, oh my god, I gotta undo this knockback. Other than that, power's pretty standard. It's gonna do some decent amount of damage. Done. But that control that the knockback gives you could be something that keeps you alive early. M30 grenade. This is the one I think that has the big knockback. Yeah, so check this one out. If you look here, 50% chance, so it's the same as your buckshot cone, but this magnitude on this is like triple what the other magnitudes are like 1.5. So this is about, 2.5 times, 3 times that. So this is definitely going to knock everybody flying. And because here's the thing, the bigger the knockback, so the knockback, the way I understand it, is compared to the knockback resistance of the enemy. And so the greater this discrepancy, the more this guy is going to go flying. So if you have a, mag 1.5 and the guy's got 0, okay, they knock him back a couple feet, no big deal. But if you hit him with a mag 4.1, 4.2, now he's going to get knocked flying. I don't know if it's proportional. Like, hey, they're going to get knocked back 2.5 times as far. It might be. But that's what's going to ultimately happen. You're going to send them flying. But it's going to be good against, let's say, a tougher foe like a boss who you maybe couldn't knock back with your single target or your cone buckshot. Now you can knock them, not flying, but knock them down with this mag 4 M30 grenade. The other thing that this power does that's nice is it gives you your first optional damage type. We've got some fire damage here. So that'll kind of mingle in with the rest of your stuff. And I'm trying to think. So the range of this is pretty good, 80 feet. The endurance cost is heavy, though, 15 some change. I want to see the AoE splash on it. That's what I wanted to see. Here we go. So we've got a decent range of 80 feet. The endurance is really hefty. It's 15. Recharge is not so hot either. But the AoE air radius, can't talk today, is 15 feet. So when this thing goes off, anything within 15 feet is going to get knocked back. And you can hit up to 16. So that's a nice power to just lob in the middle of a pack of dudes and just throw them every which way. But you're throwing them every which way. So it might be a good opener, right? So you got a whole bunch of people standing downrange, and then here's you, and you just lob it in there. Boom. Send these guys kind of scattering in a little bit of a circle, and then you can run up there and drop some of your traps right in the middle of them, or what have you. You could also maybe blast the guys in the front and kind of use the splash radius around this thing to knock back the people in the middle instead of scattering them all. You're kind of knocking them in a direction. So it depends on how you angle this thing. That'll be some things we can take a look at during the little solo tests. But nice little power. So we got 4 of these powers by level 10. We have a nice arsenal of attacks. We've also got ourselves like 3 different traps at this point. So we can survive for many levels, at least through the teen levels, with just these 4 attacks and 3-4 traps at this point. Beanbags, your next one at 16, single target attack. The damage is okay. It's somewhere between your tier 1 and tier 2. So remember, tier 1 was only doing about 10. Your tier 2 was doing 50 or whatever it was. 50, 60. This guy, as your tier 3 attacks, doing about halfway between, so about 35. And it has the mag 3 stun. So that's a decent chunk of stun. That's going to stun minions and lieutenants. It's not going to stun a boss. That's sort of the downside. So to me, unless I have some way to stack this with some more stunning, then I don't see it as a must-have power. But if I have some stunning in a different power set, then this could work. And I'm thinking just off the top of my head, what if I were to have Dark Miasma combined with Assault Rifle, where I can use something like Howling Twilight, which is a nice AoE res, but it also has a pretty hefty stun attached to it. I could throw this on there and then hit him with the freaking beanbag to stun a boss really quickly. So bam, bam, you can do something like that. So that's how I would go ahead and try to leverage something like beanbag. So I try to find another power set that has some stun in it, combine those two together, and see what I can do with it. Other than that, the power is what it does. Single target, some damage, you get a stun, done. On to the next one, sniper rifle. I like this one. I really like the snipes because of what the homecoming team has done to make them fast snipes. It doesn't mean that you can't use them as a traditional sniper. If you open with your snipe attack as your very first attack, you still get that extra oomph damage, and you still get the interruptible phase. But once that's done, you can use it sort of as a regular attack in your chain. So I like that option. So here's the normal damage. If you just open with it, you're doing 162, 163 damage. So that's what triple what your tier 2 maximum damage power was doing. It does have some knockback on it too. That's something else we can leverage here. So it does do a little knockback, but 50% chance, so 50-50. If you have the quick snipe version activated, the damage is less, but the knockback is still there. So that's kind of the difference between them. So you're going to do less damage, but you are going to do, there's your less damage, but you are still going to have the knockback. So you're not trading off a ton because of that. Okay, what's our next power we have to look at? It's flamethrower. We have a cone that can go along with your buckshot power if you're worried about cones and lining them up. Let me see the range on buckshot. That is 40 feet, so pretty short range. What's flamethrower? Flamethrower is also 40, so at least they're consistent with each other. It's going to do fire damage, as you can imagine, and it is ticks of damage. So we're doing about 14 damage every second for 4.7 seconds. So I think the 4.7 includes, and again, I don't know the exact way that works, but I think the might have the activation time, might be part of this, but it's gonna proc like 4 times. I don't remember if like the first chunk of this is the actual activation of the animation, and then the hit happens, and then it's gonna proc every second at that point. But figure it's gonna proc at least 4 times, if not 5 times. So we're looking at, what, 56 or more damage, 60 damage, 70 damage, something like that, depending on how many times this thing procs for you. So you can hit somebody with that, light them on fire. I don't think it has a fear component to it, so that's good because sometimes fire powers cause the enemies to run for their lives, but this one doesn't. The max targets are 10, so that's perfectly, legit. The angle of this thing, the other thing you want to look at when you're examining cones is not so much just the range, but what is their arc. This one has a 45-degree arc, it says. So that means if you're sitting here, this is you, and you're shooting in this direction with your flamethrower, a 45-degree arc is going to be this angle here. So what is this angle? It's going to be 45 degrees. So 90 is obviously, there's a 90-degree arc. So 45 is going to be half of this thing. So it's, something like this. You're flaming out to a range of that 40 feet, right? And if you get range extension on the power, you can hypothetically hit more targets. It makes your cone a little bit better if you can extend the range, 60 feet, 80 feet, whatever. You can get them out there further. But it just means that, the only way you're getting more targets is if they're out in this range. If you got guys right on top of you that you're fighting, you're going to have a hard time hitting multiple people with your cone. But I don't really concern myself too much with how many people my cone hits, aside from I want to hit at least 2 people. And the reason for that is because if you go back to my single targets, right? My tier 1 was doing like, let's use the tier 2 as an example. That one was doing like 50, 60 damage, right? 50, 60 damage on it. Here, we'll get the exact number so we can do a direct comparison. So Slug was doing, 59 damage. So let's just call it 60 damage, okay? So Slug's going to do 60 if I shoot one person with this thing. Boop. So let's kind of compare this number here. So tier 2 Slug, 60 damage. This thing is doing 14 times, see, 14 every second for 4.5 seconds. So let's say it's 14 times 4. That's 56. So it's about the same amount of damage, right? So if I use this cone and I hit just one guy, I've equaled my tier 2 attack, which is my big damage attack. Now, the endurance, of course, is the big question. I've just spent 18 on this cone to do that, whereas my tier 2 attack is going to be costing me, where is my endurance, is 8.5. All right, so let's do some math here. 8.5. 8.5. So 8.5 is about half of this, right? Because 8.5 times 2 is 17. So all I need to do to make these equivalent is to hit 2 targets. If I hit 2 targets, I've just spent 9 per target, which is about the 8.5 per target on my single target, and I'm doing about the same amount of damage. So as long as I hit 2 guys with this cone, I don't care. Anything more than 2 targets is now gravy as far as an endurance expenditure goes. This is how I look at cones. I don't look at cones and go, "Oh my God, I can't hit 10 people. I gotta line them up perfectly." And the same thing with AOE's. I know AOE's are easier to use because you just throw it whatever in the middle of a group and you're gonna hit a bunch of guys. But cones are just as effective to damage as single target attacks, except you only have to click once and can hit multiple people for the same amount of damage. So I think if you look at it that way, you can actually get, a lot of use out of a cone. If I hit 4 targets, so now I'm a quarter of what I'm doing, half of what this thing would have done. So plus I'm doing multiple people. So if let's say I hit 4 targets as an example, now I've only spent 4.5 per target. So about half of this, and I've done the same amount of damage to that initial target, but I've just damaged 3 more guys with that same amount of damage. So it would be the same as me shooting this 4 times to get the same amount of damage on targets, but I would have had to spend 34 whatever endurance. I would have spent a third of my endurance. So if you look at it that way, cones can be worth it as long as you know how to line them up pretty well. And when you do it, just make sure you're targeting target deep, right? You want to make sure that you're trying to get people that are on the end of that cone. So if I'm standing here and I got guys in front of me attacking, I don't want to just, aim at this guy here. All right, I want to aim at like this dude back here. So when I hit, I'm hitting multiple people in between us. So just make sure that your target is in the end of your cone. This way you can kind of angle it better. And also your position, if you just shift your character's body over a little bit and then fire at this position, now instead of maybe hitting that one guy, you can hit one, two, three guys. So just it makes it a little bit trickier to use because you have to position yourself and you have to, target smartly. Or AoEs, you just drop it. Who gives a crap which hit? Although there's some thought there. All right, so then our next one is Ignite. So this power here, you spray a target with accelerant and light it on fire. Now I thought they might have changed this one because I could have sworn it was like a burn patch. So it also, yeah, so it says it also sets the location on fire if the target is grounded. All right, so that's what I thought. So if I'm understanding the way it works, the person you light on fire is going to start taking damage over time. But I also think it lays down a patch of fire that people standing in it also can take damage from, if I'm not mistaken. Here, let's see the ignite power. No, that's not the one I want. Assault rifle and ignite. Points of fire damage. Let's see. Why is it not giving me what I want? Nope. Yeah, I don't know. These must be the code for if you do the extra damage or not. So I'm not sure where it is, but according to the description, your target is ignited and takes extreme damage over time. And then the location set on fire if the target's on the ground, inflicting damage to additional foes that step in the area. So I'm not exactly sure how to read that on this, but what you want to do with this power is shoot somebody in the middle of a pack who's on the ground. They'll get on fire, and then the ground around them is on fire, and anybody else who's stepping in that area is also going to be on fire. And if you throw that in like with some caltrops and people are already scattering and trying to run away, you're going to do a lot of like DOT ticks on people that are all going to start stepping on the thing and trying to get the hell out of there. But that's what Ignite's all about. So that's another AoE power you've got. And then full auto, that's your fun tier 9. I mean, if you're going to take assault rifle, it's probably because of this power. It's just a fun thing. The 80-foot range is pretty huge. Recharge isn't too bad with 60 seconds. I mean, you can get that down to, I don't know, 30 seconds pretty easily. So every 30 seconds, you just start unloading this 80-foot long, 90-degree arc cone. So you can hit a ton of people with this thing. You can hit all 10. That's pretty easy to do. Just kind of stand back and unload at somebody at the end of the room there. And then, the damage is going to do, it seems like small, like 10, but it's 10 per tick. And it's ticking 0.2 seconds. So that's 5 times per second for 2 seconds. So that's what, 10 ticks of, 10. So, doing like 100 damage per person that you're hitting with this thing. This is a nice power that you can throw in like a damage proc or something like that. So we can be hitting a lot of guys, take some extra damage, and you start unloading with this thing over and over again. It's a fun little power to have. And then I'm not sure what this one's talking about. 10% chance for 21.5 points of lethal. I don't know if that's that seems almost like a scourge thing, but maybe this power has a chance to do extra damage. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to remember or remind you is that the assault rifle set as a whole, it said here that it's equipped with the latest targeting technology, so it has accuracy. So these powers all should have an accuracy bonus compared to most other. Like most powers are accuracy 100% accurate. But you can see here like this one has an extra 5%, 105. Slug is 105. Buckshot's 105. See the M30 grenade, yeah, it's 105. So every power looks like it's got a little extra accuracy, except for sniper rifle for some reason. That's strange. Why is sniper rifle less accurate? Should be more accurate. Flamethrower 1.3, ignite is 1.15, and then full auto has an accuracy 135. So those upper tier powers have even more accuracy. So that extra 5%, 10%, 15, whatever it is, it adds up with all your other slotting that you got. So you should be able to hit your targets pretty effectively, pretty consistently. And it doesn't mean that you don't slot accuracy. It just means you don't have to be as crazy about your accuracy slotting as you, especially, or I think it's more important at the early levels when you don't have like, great IO sets, or you're packing lower level SOs or DOs or something like that. That extra 5% is going to add up for you. All right, well, there you go. That is the tour of the AR set. Now let's take a look at the build I put together for my girlfriend here, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, here we go. So what am I doing with traps, and what am I doing with AR and mace on this character? All right, so let's take a look. And this is post respec. So if you recall in the last video, I was talking about traps and detail, and I was talking about trip mine, and I was talking about temporal bomb at one point because trip mine sucks given the interruptibility of it. And temporal bomb had been changed from time bomb. I don't know, a few issues back. I don't recall exactly when Homecoming did it, but I'd never taken the original time bomb, and when temporal was added, I hadn't played these AR characters in a while. I've only got two of them, so it's not like, oh my god, I got to run out and respec them. But I did the respec off camera, and I did pick up temporal bomb, and I did run around on some pug action with it, and I'm actually very excited about this power. It's really good, and I'm like, oh man, I got to find some slots for this thing somehow. But right now, here's the build that I have. So as you can see, I've taken everything in traps except for trip mine, because trip mine sucks. If you are a soloist, a sneaky puller around corners, and trip mine's great. But in practical use, run and gun with a team, you just don't get the mileage out of it. And to sit there and pick it and slot it, it's just not worth the amount of times it doesn't work. So I dumped it. For assault rifle, I took everything but beanbag, and I already gave you my reasons on that. I just don't have a way really to stack anything with it, so I didn't take it. Then for Mace Master, you can see I took most of that except for the single target hold. And the reason is I don't have any other holds in my set, so why try to get, I do have Poison Trap to give me a hold, but, I'm not really about hard controls of this build. There's going to be a lot of soft control and just sort of a lot of ways to get damage and crap out there. So let's see what the rest of the plan is. We've got web grenades sitting here, and we've dual slotted that with a couple of immobilizes. I've got a crap of the hunter in here with the damage proc, so I am going for the extra chance for damage. So I'm turning web grenade into a damage list power, into a damaging power. It's also got a nice minus fly attached to it, so that can be good if you got somebody who's trying to get away. You web them and down they go, because you want people on the ground near you with this build. That's what traps does. Most of it is on the ground. Then I grab burst, and I've got, turn that off. I've got burst and slug, both slotted with a couple of thunder strikes, and only 4 slotted. You'll notice most of my slotting is actually sunk into my AoEs, but here we go. I got thunder strike 4 times in both these. I'm getting the recovery, I'm getting the defense, and I'm getting accuracy. I forgot to mention I'm getting some mobilized bonus here. But these bonuses you're seeing from Thunderstrike are going to be pretty common in a lot of the sets that I'm choosing. I'm trying to find a bunch of defense any which way I can, because I want to stack that up with my force field generator. And I talked about force field generator in the initial challenge video that I put out, talking about the numbers on that and how I can get pretty solid defenses on a defender with it. So if I can take this as my base and then start adding defenses from some set bonuses, I should be able to muster a pretty strong number here to make this pretty survivable. So that's going to be the plan you'll see as I start going through these powers. Buckshot, I went ahead and 6-slotted this one with artillery, and artillery is going to give us regeneration, some defense, some damage, some accuracy, and some more defense. So accuracy, defenses, I'm trying to get maybe some damage here, some recovery here. But accuracy is going to be big, defense is going to be big, whatever I can get. Acid mortar, I went ahead and put undermine defense in here, damage, max endurance, accuracy. I don't want to miss with this character. I mean, she is just going to be pinpoint accurate with all of her shots. That's my goal. With acid mortar and the slotting, we'll kind of look at the numbers on this here. We've got minus 32%. Pop out the window here. Oops, so hold on 1 second. Boom. Yeah, so you can see I'm getting 32% defense debuff with the slotting I've got on it, and 26, almost 27% resistance debuff. So that's huge, right? So I can put that together with burst, which gave me the 12.5. So I've got a decent amount of minus defense I can stack just with those two things alone. But that's what I slotted for. I want this to be debuffing. This character to be very debuffy and very damagey. Those are the things I was kind of going for. Accurate as hell. I just want to hit, 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 and I don't want to stop hitting. Force field generator. We've got this power. It's given me a total defense bonus of 23.2% on this. So boom. Now here's the thing that I'll kind of point this out that a lot of people might poo-poo is, oh, my defenses are better with my stalker, my blaster, name your super hyper damagey, whatever archetype out there, and like, hey, why are you wasting time, defender, getting defense? You get better defense with blah, 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 get the number, the damage on top of that. Here's the thing. This 23% is for me, and my entire team is getting this thing. So that's the benefit. If you're playing some sort of supporty set, defender, controller, corruptor, mastermind, something like that, you have powers that you can benefit your team with. So pick them and slot them. If you only care about yourself, then play the blaster, play the stalker, play the scrapper, whatever. So if you're going to take this stuff, make sure it's something that your team is also getting. So I'm giving everybody on the entire team 23%. So that's huge bonus to the entire team. Then we've got that thing slotted with 5 reactive defenses, smash lethal resistance, hit points, fire cold resistance, endurance discount is the bonuses I'm getting out of that thing. Poison trap, I've got a lockdown set in this one with the chance for the +2 mag hold. So I want this power to turn into like a one-shot boss holder, and that's what I've got it looking like here. Let me go ahead and take a look at this. So here is the numbers. I've got the 8-second mag 3, that's the actual poison trap, and then there's an 8-second mag 2 chance. That's from the lockdown proc. So I can throw out a mag 5 hold on a bunch of people for 8 seconds real fast, real easy. It also has a sizable minus 30% recharge debuff. The one thing I wanted to check, does this thing, okay, so this thing does not take slow sets. I thought it said on City of Data it did. Give me 1 second. All right, I just double checked, and I was mistaken. There's one of the other powers, but I do want to go double check that. So web grenade. All right, so web grenade does take slow sets. So here's another option that I could do. And now I'm just, kind of spitballing this out loud right here. So right now I've got it slotted with the 2 traps of the hunters. Accuracy end, and then the chance for lethal. I could replace that, let's say, with the ice mistrals and go with, I don't know. Let me see. And it doesn't have any good, like, really high level accuracy parts. It's got a triple and a quad on the accuracy. But I could get the cold damage in there if I don't really care about. I could just go like accuracy and then the ice mistral. What does the ice mistral set give me? 2 of them gives me hit points. It's an option. Impeded swiftness has smashing as an option as the proc on that one. I could get the smash lethal resistance, and I did go with the crap of the hunter, which is the immobilize. So this may be the worst of the options as I just kind of look at it again, because I could get accuracy, endurance here, and impeded swiftness, and then get some smash damage. I don't know. Whatever. At this point, it's not a huge deal. But if you want to change up your damage types, you could get the Ice Mistral in there. The other thing I wanted to double check was on Caltrops when we get to that one, because the way I've got it slotted, I might want to change. We'll see. All right, so anyway, that was Force Field Generator. M30 grenade, I kind of skipped over this one. I've got the artillery in there, just like the buckshot, so I've doubled up on those bonuses for that one. Remember, that's the one with regen, the defense, the damage, the accuracy, the other defense. So that's giving me a lot of uh, extra numbers there. Poison Trap, we just talked about that one. It's got some defense in here. It's got damage. It's got some hold bonuses. It's got some damage resistance. Triage Beacon, I got 4 doctored wounds in here. Resistance Smash Lethal, Resistance Fire Cold, and the heal boosting. I like to do this with this power and with Plant Controls, the tree there. They are regen placeable powers, but if you put the Panacea in there, which is a PvP set, the Panacea procs plus hit points and endurance, and this will proc on your allies. So I've confirmed that before, and I've shown some tests on it in case you don't believe me. It does work. I don't know if it's hey, is that the best place to put it? Maybe I should put that in my health and put the Numinas in here, whatever. But I like this idea that it kind of gives me an option of sort of an instant heal. It's not huge, right? But if my allies are taking damage, I can drop the triage beacon. It can proc that heal. I think the heal maybe only procs when you first place it, might be the difference. And then I think the endurance can proc multiple times. Don't quote me on that one, but I remember there is something that when you initially place this pet down, this pseudo pet, it does proc. And then it procs again later. It's not a huge number, and it's going to keep proc and going like crazy. But if your allies are in one place long enough, and this is just pinging away, regen's 284 on it, and it can boost 7.5% endurance, and the healing is another like 90 that it's popping out. So it's going to sit there, and the duration on this thing's 90 seconds. So you should be able to get extra little pings out of it. Combat jumping. I've got shield wall, the resistance to teleportation, and then the global resistance. And then I've got a winner's gift, slow resistance in that one. Seeker drones is kind of a weird slotting idea that I put in here, but I think it kind of works. I think it actually does work. I know. I put the superior vigilant assault in here. The damage recharge combined with the recharge PB AoE absorb. And I know what you're thinking. That's crazy. Like, why would you do that? The absorb procs when you summon this thing. So it's kind of cool. Like, if you are about to get in a fight, you summon your little drones, it'll proc the absorb on you and everybody around you. So it's like a quick little burst of, temporary HP. Silly. Should I put it somewhere else? I don't know, maybe. But I summon these things often enough that it kind of works. Plus, I don't really want to, move this somewhere else because I guess maybe I could 6-slot this to get the defense instead of maybe one of these other sets or something like that. But I'd have to go all in on this thing somewhere else. And, it's working for what I want it to do right now. Maximum endurance. Sniper rifle, I've got the calibrated accuracy in here. I don't think anybody ever has used this one before, but recovery, defense is in here, accuracy's in here. So I'm leaning into that. Infiltration, I've got the blessing of the Zephyr in here. I did respec into this one. I had, I think, super jump from before, but I ditched that. I grabbed the infiltration power, which can be slotted with, I think, defense sets, and I was pleased to see it can be slotted with these universal travel sets. So I went ahead and threw the blessing of the Zephyr so I can get some knockback protection, because before this I had the knockback protection, I think, was over in one of my defense powers, and so I really wasn't getting any defense out of it. So anyway, I moved some things around, respect a little bit, and managed to pick up infiltration and maneuvers to give me some more defense. So I've got this power now. Remember, I got rid of trip mine, and I changed out my. I used to have. I had super jump and acrobatics. And I'm like, acrobatics really is, it's giving me knockback protection, but I get knockback protection just by doing something with the blessing of Zephyr, and then I can shave some powers and move some things around. So that was my big, couple changes that I did. Acrobatics went bye bye. Super jump went bye bye. Trip mine went bye bye. I picked up infiltration. I picked up the temporal bomb, and I picked up maneuvers. Caltrops, there's another weird slotting. I put the Superior Defender's Bastion chance for minor PBOE. It's the same thing as Seeker Drones. When I summon the Caltrops and throw them, I have a chance to proc a heal. And I'm throwing these things pretty frequently. I mean, the recharge is 30 some odd seconds on here, 30, almost 40 seconds. So every time I throw it, I can proc a heal. Again, is there a better place for this? Yeah, maybe. But I'm throwing it in here just for giggles. And it does give me a little bit of extra, oomph in the healing department. And I like the fact it's sort of on demand. If I want it to proc, I can just get it to proc and I'll have to like hope and pray that it procs. It pretty much does it whenever I throw caltrops. I also put in 2 Ragnarok in here, damage recharge, so similar to what I have in Seeker drones. Got the recovery boost, but then I put in the chance for knockdown because I want to turn caltrops into a more robust control power. So if I throw this down, I got the heal proc in there. Now I've got the chance for it to knock targets down who are then going to fall on the caltrops and get back up and be getting stabbed the entire time. So that's kind of fun. Flamethrower, I've got an Annihilation set with a chance for resistance debuff. I also have that set over here in full auto, 6 slotted. So I've got max endurance, resistance energy negative, regen, endurance discount, and then the 6 slots give me some AoE defenses. The chances for resistance debuffer in there are going to be nice. That'll give me some extra damage that I can probably throw out. Okay, the resistance debuff chance is what, 12.5% it looks like. All right, so that's what's going on with those powers. Stealth, I've got Kismet. They got the accuracy one in there because, again, I want high accuracy, so I got a nice global 6% accuracy boost. I got the defense endurance there. It's giving me some more recovery. Then I got Temporal Bomb. I really like this power. I put the knockback to knock down because this thing does have a pretty good boom boom radius on it. This, to me, is what Trip Mine should be. And then get a different tier 9 in here. But it's cool. The thing blows up. It's really, I think it does have an interrupt, but it's really short and you just get it out, it's down. And I also like the fact that you can stick it on somebody and as they're moving away, or you just stick it on them and then click it and it explodes. And then you have the aftermath, right? So after it blows up and everybody gets blown back or knocked down in this case, it also has this boost, this debuff and boost to it. So it speeds you up like a speed boost kind of power, and then it slows down your enemies. So it's kind of a cool double whammy power. It's really awesome. I would love to get more slots in this thing to have it up more often because right now the recharge is around a minute. Man, I would love to get that thing down like 45 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. Get some more damage in here. Just use this as my big, this is like a tier 9 nuke almost. That's how good it is. It's really, really strong. That was a good job with the homecoming team fixing it like that. Scorpion Shield, same slotting as I have the force field generator, except I have the scaling resist in here for the reactive defense. But I'm getting, resistance, smash lethal, hit points, fire cold resistance, endurance discount. Okay, lots of extra bonuses. Already talked about full auto. I got focused accuracy from my mace mastery. More accuracy, right? Focused accuracy. If we take a look at the numbers on this thing, it gives you a to hit boost of 40%. And I think, let me just shut that off for a second. Can I do that? Yeah, the 80% is from, wait, accuracy is 20%, I think, on this. But I have the build up Gaussian in there. And I think that's what the 40-80 is. So when Gaussian procs, yeah, 40% hit for 5 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So it looks like there's a 17% chance for this Gaussian to proc. It boosts to hit 40, damage 80, and the accuracy static bonus for focused accuracy is 20%. And it has a to hit bonus of 5%, and it gives you enhanced perception, I think, so it's harder for you to get blinded. So this is a great power. I mean, I like this thing. And so I added it because, again, I want to be super accurate with this thing. It's just a little bit high in the endurance cost. It's out of the box, it's 3.9 or 0.39. Ignite, I got another artillery 6 slot in here. Summon Disruptor, I grabbed the Called Arms in this one. 4 slotted recovery, hit points, and recharge boost on it. But Summon Disruptor, that's a pet from Mace Mastery. You've heard me talk about how I'm really liking the pets with defenders and the controllers are just doing a ton of damage. So I don't think I can pass up taking the pets anymore on a defender. I already had this with this character, but even if I didn't, I might have respec into it depending on what I had to drop. Like, hey, I'd rather have that pet than Web Cocoon, that's for sure. And then Web Envelope is my other power I took from Mace Mastery. I've got the Gravitational Anchor set in it, 4 slot of that, recovery, some resistance, some more accuracy, 15%. I've got the chance to hold proc in here, so I've got some more control-y stuff. So between that, the Poison Trap, I can get some decent holds on some enemies. So I'm liking that. Gives a little bit more utility to this power. And I already had the gravitational anchors anyway. So that is what web envelope is all about. And it also says minus fly, so that'll team up nicely with web grenade if I want to, immobilize whole groups of flyers or bosses or whatever else. All right, last thing we're going to take a look at, of course, going to be the powers you get from your incarnates. So let's go ahead and scoot this up and take a look at our final numbers as well. So here we go. I've got stamina with performance shifter in there, and I've got health with the Numina's regen recovery. So I'm not going to have any endurance issues, hopefully, because I'm going to be spraying a lot of freaking bullets, and I am going to be summoning a lot of traps. So and I have a lot of toggles running. So if you take a look at my numbers, it's actually pretty effing impressive, I think. So here's what we're looking at. Make sure everything off is off. Let's see, Scorpion Shield, turn that off. Stealth is on. Maneuvers is on. Infiltration's on. Force Shield Gen. All right, so with everything activated, I mean, my positional defenses are pretty killer. I'm in the 50% here. Let me do the pop-out window. So, I've got melee range and AoE around 50%, 40, 50%. My type defenses, I'm like 60, 70% on a lot of those things. So I've got tons of defense. And I haven't even turned on my Incarnate crap yet. So for Incarnates, I've also got, before I get into that, here's my one sort of Achilles heel, right? I got a 1/6 drain versus 3 recovery. So that is not a 2-to-1. That is what my big problem is. So I'm not going to be probably running, let's say, sprint. Turn sprint off because I'll have infiltration running anyway. So this is kind of the problem. I've got only about a 2-to-1, ratio here of recovery to drain, which is bare minimum. I like 3-to-1 if I can get it. But I'm going to be shooting a lot of bullets, right? And my powers, my traps cost a lot of endurance. So this character is going to burn through endurance just like a lot of my defenders do. But that's why I went with a lot of the recovery and a lot of the endurance discount that I could find. And why I have stamina and health slotted the way I do. So anyway, for Incarnates then, what I've done is I went ahead and got Agility. That's got the endurance mods that'll help my recovery. It's got recharge, so I'll get my powers back faster. It's got defense buffs. That's going to help my overall defense numbers. Jump, run, and fly speed. So my mobility is going to be good. I need to be mobile with this character too. So if I click that, you can see what's happening to my numbers, right? My defenses are jumping up about another 5% or something like that from where I'm at. So with my alpha slotted, and this is at tier 4 level, which I think I'm only tier 3 right now. But anyway, if you take a look at that, I mean, the defenses are pretty awesome. 50, 60% we're looking at for my ranged and AoE and stuff, positional defenses. My type defense is 70%. I got an 80% in there for energy, 60%, 50%. So I got tons of defenses for anything pretty much. I mean, my lowest one is what, 47? I mean, it's awesome. Then I went ahead and snagged Diamagnetic as my interface. The reason for there is it has the minus to hit procking. So when I do hit targets with all the bullets I'm spraying, I'll debuff their to hit. I think the value on that is only 5%. Yeah, so it's a minus 5%. But that's kind of effectively like another 5% defense if you want to kind of think about it that way. I don't know if the exact translation works that way, but in my head it does. So that means my defenses are even better because the enemies have even worse shooting and trying to hit me. It's also giving me some minus regen, which is going to help me take down, stuff like AVs. So 10% minus regen. That's going to be stacking up with my acid mortar has minus resistance, and what is it? Poison trap has minus. Yeah, poison trap has minus regen, the 1000%. So I should be able to take down hard targets much more easily with this character, by throwing in something like Diamagnetic. Then I took support core as my hybrid, damage, accuracy, more defense, and special boosting. So let's take a look at that. When I activate this, I think sometimes the hybrids don't translate over. Here it goes. All right, so it is translating a little bit. So check out my defense is going up even more now. All right, so now I'm jumping up to 70, 75% for my positional stuff, 90% energy defense, 80s. I mean, come on, that's disgusting. Oh, by the way, I took barrier. Boom, barriers capping, pretty much all those freaking numbers are going to be capped. I think the one for Cherie cap is, 175, if if I'm not mistaken, on these. Something like that. One of these guys locks up as, maybe it's the energy. But, boom, I'm going to be like, massive defensive with Barry. Now, it's not going to last super long, but it's there. I also took the, the radial side to get the ally res, so that gives me a little bit more utility, so I can technically heal you, I guess. Heal you from death. And then I took Mighty, because I like Mighty as a big old PB AoE smash. I'm going to be running into melee quite often to drop the traps on people. And when I get there, I can do the big old Mighty smash, knock people up in the air. That can buy me another couple seconds to throw some traps down. And then I took the Arachnos lore. That's going to be thematic. It goes with my Disruptor and my Mace stuff. Maybe she's some sort of mercenary working for Arachnos. I don't know. But I've got the Arachnos core, so that's going to be 2 damaging pets combined with my summon disruptor damaging pet. Plus all my traps are doing damage, plus my bullets are doing damage. So this character, I believe, is going to be very damagey. I think she might be my most damaging defender I will have shown you, at least in this series to date. I don't know. We'll see once I have the numbers, but I think she's going to be able to outdamage Marquis du Temple, my time manipulation dual pistols defender. I think she should be able to do that, just based on all the different slotting I've got. All right, well, there you go. That is her build. So last thing we want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and fire up COH. Going to bring Cherie out to play for a little bit. I'm going to run just a quick solo thing, little radio mission, just to kind of go through the paces, show you what she can do. It's not going to be some super challenging mission. I'll probably just run it at +0, maybe times 6 or 7, just to kind of go through it. All right, be right back. Give me a minute. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So here is Cherie. She is level 50 with, let's go to my, what is personal info, vet level 15. As far as Incarnate stuff goes, just want to check if my alpha is tier 4 or not. I think, nope, it's tier 3. All right, so that's tier 3. I thought I had 1 tier 4. Maybe it's my hybrid support. Is that? Yeah, so my hybrid's tier 4. All right, so that's my 1 tier 4. Everything else is tier 3. But this is Cherie. Fire up her toggle. She's got maneuvers, focus accuracy, scorpion shield, stealth, combat jumping, infiltration. So this is getting my, defense numbers going up. I've got range, melee, AoE, defense is shown here. Energy smash. So I've got decent numbers already. I haven't even summoned my force field generator, so I'm going to grab that. Put that out into play. Okay, numbers jumping up again. And then don't forget, guys, shield drone pet from the start vendor. I think gives you a couple more defense. So I'm going to bring that out. Now, these things are squishy as hell, but with the amount of defense I've got around me, this thing's actually in decent survivable position. So this is my kind of just native defenses walking around without anything else going. Secondary mutation, if you get lucky, you might get some more defense out of that. Let's see which one I got. Regen. All right, then you got your little toys you can start summoning. So let's go and see what we've got here. All right, so here's our idiot friends. I'm going to go ahead and summon my Seekers. So see, as soon as I summon them, I got the Absorb proc kicked off. That gives my shield drone actually some decent hit points. So that's another advantage. Turn on my hybrid. Let's get a little boost there. And let's see, what do we want to do to these idiots? I don't even know, guys. I just feel like opening up. What about you? All right, we won't get too crazy. Let's do Acid Mortar. Summon there. There's my proc of the heal. I had so many toys, I don't even know which ones to pick. There you go. Start tossing some toys out. All right, these guys think they have an angle on me. I'm going to move to bring them in. There we go, my little friends. Line them up for some cones. There's some knockback. some more AoE. Throw some crap on him. Summon this. There's my proc of the absorb again. Shoot him away. These guys keep coming. Coming out of the damn woodwork over here. That's fine. Right here. Cecil here. Get it on this guy. Put a little time bomb on him. Oh, poor guy. Throw some caltrops out. There's my heal proc. The only thing I'm not sure I've seen is if my caltrops actually cause a knockback with Ragnarok. Alright. Bam. Dead. So I don't think I was ever in danger. Obviously, this wasn't a very tough group, but, you know, I just kind of sit there and start popping traps. All right, so here's another thing you got. I've got enemies down thing, down range, right? I can start shooting them, charge in there, whatever. But instead, as a trapper, one of the things you can do that's nice is set up for this idiots. Let me refresh my force field just in case. I'm going to go ahead and put acid mortar back here. So I got them when they start to come around. I then want to park a poison gas trap right here. Put my triage beacon back here because I'm going to be standing in this general vicinity. Got that going. I'm going to throw some trops out. Slow them down. Right about here. And then I'm going to snipe this guy right here. Yeah, let's snipe this idiot. Oh, yeah. That was a big daddy shot. All right, so here they come. At least they should be coming. Or not. I thought I was going to pull some more. All right. This guy's not even going to make it. All right. Wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but what the hell. Here, open up. That'll bring him. He's running with the bomb on him. That's hilarious. Too much. Let's throw some trops out. There's the heal. So you see, putting those little defender thingies in there is not as crazy as it seems. Oh. Let's back up, back up. Get some more traps going. It's a leisurely trapper day. I heard my gravitational anchor go off. Oh, we got a boss. Now, the one weakness I have is I have a gaping sleep hole in my force field. Oh, grenade. That knockback is killing me. It's killing him too, but... Too late for your heal, my friend. Alright, and you can, pick up the pace. No big deal. I'm just fucking around right now. But you get the idea, right? So here, if I want to start going a little faster, let's get juiced up. Summon my disruptor. And what the other thing you do is just go in here. Start dropping some crap. Put a little time bomb in this fool. There we go, a little mighty. Down goes Frazier. Some boss action here. There's our boss, our friend, our confidant. Alright, we can really fuck around if you guys want. I can shoot this group, right? Pull them this way as I duck over here, and I trap the crap out of all of them. Let's do it. Ready? Watch this. I'll hold my beer. Okay, let's do this. This guy's running. Oh, my disruptor got blown up. Let's get in here. So I'm going to get my force field back out. I think it's almost done. There's Rossi. Put a bomb on his ass. Here, buddy. Hold that for me. Well, let me get that for you. Don't let him go. There goes Rossi. He's down. I think that was everybody out here. So, I mean, you know, when you're playing traps, you got all these, like, toys that you can kind of concentrate in one area. I don't really care if I have 2, 3 groups coming. So, fine. More the merrier. All right, look at all these idiots down here. You know, I hate these guys. Now, these guys are a pain in the ass because I think their res is auto-hit. So, I want to see if I could shoot one of these guys from over here. Yeah, why not? Let's see if I get them to come to me. Let's have a come-to-me moment. Right, there we go. Oh, you guys shouldn't have done it. Yeah, see that auto-hit bullshit? That's the one problem I was running into when I was messing with this character before. Snipe. This the sound effect is hilarious. Alright, let's get my force fields up. I'm gonna put my time bomb here. So the other thing you do, you can plant the time bomb. Throw some trops. And now hit it. Like that. Oh yeah, come on up here. Bullshit auto hit. So you got to be careful with that. Because if I get in a pack of a bunch of bosses and then multiple resers, I can just die. Because none of my defenses make a difference. Alright, what's next? Other group here. So this type of thing. Let's see, I'll juice up a little bit. Throw these down. Yeah, alright, the knockback does work. Just wanted to confirm that. A little mighty, drop some traps. Alright, back off of the cone. Shoot. Come on, guys, don't let him get away with it. Done. Got too many blues. Summon my defenses again. Gotta remember to keep your force field fresh. The other thing you could do is drop your little drones out as little advanced aggro scouts here. Let's open up. Let's tuck that down in this guy. He rezzed off the stupid trap. So that was the other thing I was afraid of. Nice. So the knockdown works with the Ragnarok in my caltrops. Let's plug this guy. He's dead. Alright, there it is. Boom. Easy peasy. I mean, trap is kind of easy mode when you're soloing, as long as you can get your defenses up high enough, which I think you can with force field generator just as your foundation. And the other cool thing now is that with the Ice Mastery set, it's another thing I would love to try, is Ice Mastery paired with traps, because you can get the Ice Armor has the defense armor, and you also get that Ice Golem thing, so you'd have another pet. So rather than having to take Mace Mastery to get a defense shield, you can get Ice and get a pet to boot. So I would love to do something with Ice as my mastery. I don't know if I would change AR or not, but it's an option. Maybe a dual pistols traps and run dual pistols with icy bullets to get slow. So kind of like what I did with Marquis. That could be an interesting idea. Anyway, I think that is what I wanted to show you guys with girlfriend here, Cherie. She's got the bullets, she's got the bombs, she's got pets, she's got all kinds of debuff crap. She's got some boom boom pow pow, you name it. She's gonna lay it down on some fools. So check out the next video. I'm gonna put together a team of 5, record the stats, and see if she's as awesome as I think she's gonna be. I think she's gonna be, or is, my most fun defender, at least in this series. I think I actually have other good defenders too, but this one in this series, it's just something just about this character just makes me excited. I think she's awesome. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in and checking this out. We'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy. Later.